everybody. Welcome to this Thursday. I've got a little issue here. Let me see if I can fix it. I just fixed it. Imagine that. Little technical difficulty coming my way. Welcome to the Sales Hustle Club. Today is December 12th. I tell you what, Santa Claus is almost here and about to bless us with some amazing presents. But most of all, time with our families and joy and togetherness, because that's what the holiday spirit is truly all about. But why do I come here each and every Monday at 10 o'clock? Is to spread energy, my friends. It's the energy that we put into our work when we are going out into the universe and finding opportunities, creating value by selling our products and services. And I hope to supply with each of you a little bit of that power, a little bit of that energy. What is possible when you're doing your typical sales day? And I will ask you to think about this for a moment. The thing is, what do you want out of this week? What opportunities do you want to create by setting the proper intentions? It's one of the things that we do when we get on this call and we have this conversation is let's figure out what our intentions are for the day before we get started with our week. That's what this time is for, 10 a.m. Central. I'm here each and every time. I am now streaming this on LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn and you're not a friend of mine, please send me a friend request. I want to be able to be of service to you and your team and your friends. You know, I'll make a lot of suggestions on these calls of things you can do, things to add to your world, things that may stretch you in terms of your comfort level on what you could do to grow your sales. If you were in my first call, you would have heard my story of how I started selling door-to-door, selling cell phones. And I have learned something from that day. Every single day I've been selling, I've learned a little bit of knickknacks and doodads and strategies and technology, but most of all, how to manage my own personal energy and how to keep moving forward. And the reason I do in the Sales Hustle Club is more than just showcasing tips and tricks from CallProof. It is covering best practices in the field so together we can learn what's working and what's not. To also receive feedback from people in the CallProof community that use our app, the salespeople or sales managers that need help to scale and grow their sales. If something ain't working, this is an opportunity for you to speak up so we can work with our teams to make sure we fix and help roll out new enhancements. And we got some good stuff coming. And also, again, back to this mindset. But before we get started, I want to ask you guys in the field right now to set your intentions for the week. What do you want out of this week? If you got to close your eyes for a moment and just imagine for a moment what it's going to be like on Friday at 5 o'clock, you're headed home, you've done a very great, productive week. What are you proud of? At that moment, what are you proud of for the week? If you can set that intention, your subconscious in your mind will go to work and provide that for you. But nothing happens magically without thought. So thought is what is first required for all action. Just have it thought out there, put it out to the universe, and we'll get that done. So today we're going to talk about overcoming sales objections. And I want to tell you a little bit where the inspiration for overcoming sales objection arrives from. There's a book that besides the book Traction, which dramatically changed my business and my life in terms of how I go about managing and running a sales organization, there's a book by Jack Daly called Hyper Sales Growth. And there is a chapter about sales objections. And once I read that chapter, it completely changed the game on how, in fact, I looked at sales objections. And everything that I'm teaching you, every time I teach it, most of it, it's all regurgitated information. I'm not often giving brand new things. And often you listen to these things and go, I've already heard this before. That's nothing new, Robert. Guess what? What is new is what's back into your awareness, because we forget about things we learn every single day. And when I go through this effort of trying to teach this, I am student at this moment. I am right now not a teacher for you. I am a student just as well as all of you that might be listening. So I'm regurgitating new information. But once you get your sales objections correct and you understand the fundamental rule, which is what I'm about to teach, which is every company has about 8 objections. There's really not many more than that. But it's the practice of getting good at those 8 objections and how you respond to those when you receive them that I'm going to be teaching you guys today. So let's get moving forward here. Don't. So here's the don'ts, right? Never confront an objection directly. Listen first. Now, listening is an act that I have to take serious practice on. When I'm in a sales environment and someone hits me with an objection, our first response is to go directly to the objection. No, all the studies say, repeat the question and make sure you verbalize that question correctly. We often have an uncanny ability to assume what someone is saying, but be incorrect in our assumption. So we start attacking one objection, and that's not what the customer said. It was our preconceived notion that came up when they started with the objection. So we have this pre-programming that's in all of us that we can't seem to help at some point to get us misdirected. And so take a moment. When someone has an objection, just take a breather, relax a bit, and just listen. We never take an objection personally or as a stab to the company and you feel like you have to protect or somehow justify something with taking it personal, because that's a direction that we all don't want to go down. But here's the never, never, never. Never be unprepared for the objections, as there are only 8 objections. Listen, every professional ball team has practice. What do they do at practice? They do drills, okay? They do plays. They practice certain plays. Well, what I'm going to be advocating for a minute is something called role practice, and role practice has a purpose. And you are a professional sports team. There's really no difference from sales teams and professional sports teams. Because when you have a opportunity that you are working with, let's say it's in a presentation format. So you've done a presentation and you're starting to get objections, right? Well, it probably took a lot to get to even to that point of doing a presentation. So maybe your company spent some money to get a lead. You got a lead that booked an appointment, maybe at a phone call, but you're actually in a sales environment. Now you have an objection, right? Well, here's the thing. If you know what those 8 objections are before you showed up on the appointment, you would be prepared. So you can prepare first with practice. And we'll talk about that in a minute, but I want you to think about this. Don't waste your customers' time when you aren't ready for the objections. And the objection exercise and learning what the objections are and how to handle objections makes a huge difference for a number of reasons. But if I could get you to be 20% better through some role practice just this week, would you commit yourself to the practice? It's the discipline of the practice that's going to pay off in the long run so you convert the business. So obviously, we're going to talk about practicing overcoming objection with role practice before the interaction with your prospect. Understand that sometimes their objection isn't real, but a diversion, likely due to mistrust or distrust. So how do you solve that particular piece in the equation? Building better rapport. This is something that I learned long ago, and I learned this in retail. I learned that my customer that I interacted with, that I shortened the rapport building process, the getting to know phase, getting their name in conversation. Whenever I shortened the rapport building phase, equally, I was reducing the chance of a close. The longer the rapport in getting the customer to talk, using their name in conversation, using their name with questions, referencing their name over and over in the rapport building process that always had a direct correlation with my close rate. I knew when I skipped the rapport that my close rate would diminish. So often customers trying to be friendly Americans would typically, if they give you an objection that's not real, they'll make up some objection because they're trying to be a nice person, okay? But what they're not telling you is maybe there's some distrust there. So build more rapport, and you can help reduce the likelihood someone's going to give you a fake objection. When you do fail at overcoming an objection, tell someone or talk to someone what happened. You know, what I tell everyone when I talk to sales teams, and I had this conversation, and by the way, I spoke to one of our customers in the welding and gas space and had a great conversation about note taking in CallProof. Because many of you are putting notes into CallProof for your sales manager, and you're doing it wrong. You need to do it for yourself. But what do you document in a note? If you went on an appointment and you were hit with an objection that you did not handle well, document it in the app. Document what happened. And so you can have another conversation with another salesperson on the team that is better equipped to handle that objection, or B, talk to your sales manager. I promise you he could help guide you, or she could guide you on the path of overcoming that objection in a more meaningful way. But by documenting it, we are programming our subconscious with what works and what doesn't work. So make the effort to document those opportunities. By documenting them, you're going to start to see as time goes on, you're getting progressively better. Just like in sports, if you're doing the practice, you're documenting your successes, you're documenting wins you're having out in the field. It's the same thing here. You're going to document the wins that you have when you're overcoming those objections. Why role practice? Well, one good practice on your sales meetings, I would encourage you to bring this topic up at your next sales meeting. And start by asking yourself this question. What are your 8 objections? Okay? Because it's cost too much, your product doesn't work where I need it to. Those are things that someone on the team has already mastered at overcoming. What Jack Daly teaches in his book, Hyper Sales Growth, is top 1% of salespeople know how to handle that objection each time in every way with their own language, and it just flows off their tongue. When you overcome an objection and it flows and has a natural feeling, that objection becomes a closing tool for you, and it creates a lot of trust and takes someone's ill-conceived notion in their mind why they aren't going to do business with you, to add some comfort and add that trust. But you're going to foster a growth mindset on how you approach your presentation, because when you start to document, you understand what core objections you receive, it starts to help you manufacture a better presentation that includes objection handling inside the presentation. And so when you're able to document the objections that you tend to have, start to mold your presentation so those aren't things that come up. You've already addressed them in the presentation, and it takes that objection thing out of the whole equation by you having that growth mindset to change. So key thing is here, develop these skills. The skills are worth it. The time that you spend with your team in practicing role play is worth it as well. How to do a proper role practice? Well, it's also, I'm regurgitating the same information, but in order to do it properly, first I got to have a drink of water. First, if I'm going to do a role practice, someone is the salesperson, okay? Someone is the customer, and then we have what's called a witness. Now, each person is, it's like you're in drama club, right? You're pretending to be a salesperson. We have a customer over here who's going to pretend to have an objection, right? and the witness is there. Once you properly do this exercise, the purpose of the witness is to listen, okay? We have a terrible habit when we are doing role practice and I'm the salesperson and a customer says to me, your product costs too much. Well, that's a value question. And that value question is basically, they don't think the price that I'm selling that product is worth what I'm selling it for, which means probably need to have more of the value conversation because maybe they don't understand what it fully has. But just say, for instance, customer says, well, it costs too much. When I'm doing my response, right, I am so caught up in my head on what I'm saying, I'm not paying attention to how I'm saying it, right? And that's because I'm out of practice. And so the witness is there to watch the body language, to watch your facial expressions. And that is really helpful at the conclusion of the role practice for the witness to say, this is what I liked. This is what I think you could work better at. And it really opens you up to some real criticism that you get. And I'll tell you, this happens in most organizations. People do not like doing role practice. They get annoyed by it. It's stressful. Sometimes it can be embarrassing, but lean into the discomfort of a role practice because it will make you better and it's going to make you close more business. And my question for all of you is, if you could close 25% more business just through the simple act of getting really good at this for a couple of weeks, is this effort helpful? And my argument is it's absolutely worth it in every stretch of the imagination, because if you get in the habit of the discipline of doing this on a weekly basis with someone on the team, you're going to see this major payoff here. Examples of objections. Now, if it were me and I was your sales manager and I was your VP of sales, I would spend about 30 minutes with the team asking this question. Tell me the top objections that come up, and get those journalized, and make sure you have a top one, second one, third one, just like that. And go through the process of figuring out what is natural for you. Now, what I don't want to do for my sales team is write how to overcome these objections and then for the salespeople to read it to their customer. No, that's unnatural. It's not going to build any trust. You want to have it flow off your tongue naturally. And how do you do that? You practice. You practice over and over until you get magically amazing at it, because that's going to build that trust back with your client, and your client is going to feel like you know what you're talking about. All right, so I'm going to change this up a little bit. I know we have about 19 people on the call. I want to thank everyone for joining this call, but we have a contest here. And we're going to call this the Overcoming Objections Contest. And I'm going to ask for some participation in this. I'm going to ask for 3 people for the chance to win $100 with a gift card with Amazon. And I just want to see if I can get anyone to raise their hand with the way we're going to do this exercise is, yes, it's going to take you being a little bold in front of a bunch of strangers, but I see some people got their video up, and I thank you for doing that. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be the customer, and you are going to be the salesperson, and you're going to give me a brief description of what you sell, and then I'm going to make up some kind of objection. And do I have Miss Ashley here?
Yes, I'm here. And you also have a volunteer.
Oh, I got a volunteer. So who do we have as a volunteer? Who is the guinea pig that wants to share? Oh, Mr. Mueller, how are you?
Great. Thank you for having me here.
Hey, first off, who are you here with?
What do you mean?
What company?
Oh, I'm with the Mint Capital.
Mint Capital? Excellent. Excellent. All right. So tell me a little bit about what you sell.
Mortgages.
Mortgages. Okay. And who's your target customer?
So there's the end customer, and then there are realtors I'm looking to build up a relationship with.
So primarily you're building relationships to real estate professionals so you get referrals.
Correct.
So in this example, I think it would be better for me to be in a real estate, right? Would you agree?
Yeah. Always a good thing.
Okay. All right. Awesome. All right. So let's start, Mr. Mueller. And you've called me. Let's just pretend for a minute we met at a networking event. Okay. And we met at a networking event, and you just tell me about your company and what you do. Just give me your 1 minute pitch, and I'll have an objection for you. Is that cool?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Hi, Robert. Thank you so much for taking my call. It was great seeing you the other week at the event. And you asked what I'm doing. So here's what I do. What I do is mortgages. And I have 3 promises that all the realtors I've dealt with witness to that, which is I close on time, great communication all throughout the process, and I follow up on your leads. How do you like that?
Man, honestly, I have this guy that I work with to do mortgages. He's my neighbor across the street. I've been doing business with him for the last 5 years. I'm really kind of taken care of.
Of course. So you have this guy that you're working with, and I'm sure about it, because otherwise, how do you get to be such a successful realtor? The question is, what would it take for me to be a back burner lender?
A back burner lender? Yeah, I guess my biggest hang up probably using my existing relationship is we've done business so closely, so long that sometimes I respond to him and he takes forever to respond.
Well, that's painful. Like, how long does it take for him to respond?
Well, I'll send him an email on a Tuesday, and then Wednesday or Thursday I might get a response.
Ouch, that hurts. And people wait for your response, and you want to move the deal.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, what would it be like for you to experience like real speed and ease, like take over the whole file and the full responsibility, and you see like, whoa, it's out on the breeze.
Right. Now, how typically do you communicate with your customers?
So of course, whenever there's a major update, I update everyone right away. Nobody has to ask me where the file is on. And in case there are some things that take time, every Tuesday, everyone knows they're getting a call from me. Exact update where the file is up to and when we can expect closing.
Okay. All right. That was the first good run. Thank you for sharing. And in this example, we would typically have a witness, and I didn't want to throw Ashley on the sword here to be this witness for the day. But her purpose would be to help both of us, right? I'm kind of stuttering along as a customer. So, the reality for Mr. Mueller is that's probably not a typical objection. Well, maybe that is is that a typical objection for you?
Big time.
Yeah. Okay. So it would be a witness's duty to, number one, make sure that the person playing the role of the customer is giving a real objection. That would happen. And then also not letting go. And I was letting go a bit, meaning I kind of made it easy for you. Right. Yeah, I opened the door for you. But customers don't do that. Right? Customers are going to, I kind of opened the door like, hey, the guy across the street, we've been doing business so long, but sometimes he doesn't respond to me timely. So I opened the door, but in the reality would be a real customer would kind of shoot you down and just leave you hanging and therefore make it a lot more uncomfortable. Right. And so it makes the whole experience uncomfortable. You want to be uncomfortable. So I didn't really do it the right way, but I also didn't want to make you uncomfortable with this whole group. Right. But getting into the act of being uncomfortable is part of this process. And what a witness would do in terms of critiquing the salesperson is making sure and watching for those and ahs and the lack of confidence. And what Mueller had was no lack of confidence. He kind of went right in there, and he's used to getting this objection. So he already has a predetermined language that he's ready to roll off his tongue. So it worked beautifully. All right. So thank you. Who else do we have that would be open to share an experience or share an objection that they have, or let me provide an objection for them for this contest? Anybody?
While we're waiting for a new volunteer, I'd like to say I love the overcoming that he put out there. What can I do to be your back burner? I use that one quite a few times myself. It's very awesome.
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Miss Ashley. By the way, your camera's off if you didn't know that. There she is. There's Miss Beautiful Ashley. Anybody else have one? Or is Mr. Mueller going to win out of default because no one is brave enough to get on camera and let me quiz you? Let me challenge you with an objection. Come on, surely there's somebody. Chuck, you had one last week. What do you got? I see you. Oh, there he goes. He's getting brave.
Yeah,
Come on now.
I'll go for it.
All right. Remind the crew here what you sell.
I'm with Ziegler's Distributors, and we sell pet food and pet accessories.
Okay, that's good. So Chuck, you have, and one thing I didn't talk about this. There's really two places that objection is really critical. When you're doing a cold visit and you walk into a business and you're trying to get an appointment, that's a place that you can receive an objection. And I know you guys are doing cold visits and you're going and visiting opportunities. And so in this example, I have a pet supply store called Spot's Pet Supply. I actually know the man who owns owns Spot's Pet Supply in Main Street here in Nashville, Tennessee, in East Nashville. So I'll pretend to be him for a moment, okay? And I'll embody him as the customer. And you have come in and you happen to catch the owner, right? And I'm at the cash register. I got no customers. And you come in and I say, "Hi, welcome to Spot's Pet Supply. My name is Robert. How can I help you?"
Hi, Robert. My name is Chuck, and I'm with Ziegler's Distributors. And here's my business card. I am sorry that I wasn't able to make contact with you. However, I was in the neighborhood, and I thought I would just stop in and see what your business is all about and see if you needed anything from us.
What do you guys distribute?
We distribute pet food such as Nutrisource, Victor. That would be the food. And then we also have accessories such as Bay Dog. And we also have some toys from Spunky Pup. Have you heard of any of these before?
Yeah, I mean these are products that are on my wall. I sell already. I got a new employee coming here in a minute, about to show up. So I'll take your card here. Thank you.
Thank you. And oh, by the way, we do employee training as well.
Oh, okay. Well, like I said, I have to get going now. But thanks for stopping in.
Yes, sir. Is there a good time that I could come back and meet with you at a sit down?
That may be possible. Are you in Nashville?
No, sir, I am not. But however, if a sit down is not possible, we can always do over a Zoom call, or I could just pick up the phone and we could do it over the phone.
Okay. Well, I got your card here, and I'll follow up with you soon.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Excellent. Okay, so I know, Chuck, I put you on the spot there, and I appreciate you being bold and here. Any feedback that you'd like to give Chuck? Like, you're talking to Chuck now. What feedback after that experience if you could go back and do it again, what would you have done differently? You're still muted, Chuck.
Sorry about that. I run into this a lot because, I make the effort to email ahead, a week or so, and let them know that I'm going to be in the area. And sometimes I hear from the folks and sometimes I don't. So I could have said, that I'll email you or, something like that with the phone call. I can do an email and then follow up with the phone call.
Yep. A couple of things that I would suggest in that scenario would be asking who their vendor is. Having a deep conversation where they buy from today is a great angle to go after. If I happen to be in town, because I know you guys travel to places to go see things. And, honestly, if I got a face-to-face with an owner that somewhat trying to blow me off, right? I would really go after, I don't want to get on Zoom with someone because that's not personal. I want to build more rapport. And in something this exercise doesn't really give us the opportunity to, you most likely would have built a lot more rapport in a regular scenario. So understand that you're going to get more resistance if you start selling on the front end instead of start building a rapport first. But one suggestion I would have would be say, listen, I'm in town till fill in the blank. What time from now to then makes sense for me to stop by again? And so you can go ahead, I would pull out my phone. Let's talk calendar stuff. When I ran a bunch of wireless stores, if I had someone come in that had you're in a unique situation. If you walk in and you're offering to supply products to a store, there's a reason for the business owner to pay attention. Number one, he wants to know, can he get it cheaper? That's probably the first thing that's off his mind. He's automatically thinking, how can I save money? Or it's either saving money or giving me a product with a higher gross margin that maybe I don't already carry, right? And so having something in your bag of tricks that you could say, hey, I noticed you don't have so-and-so. My customers that sell this are selling 50 units a month and it's at their display. You don't have anything like that. I'd love to show you how this can drive new revenue. So again, our purpose when we go visit a customer is find value. Like, why are they going to listen to you? What can you bring to the table? All right. So thank you, Chuck. I appreciate that. I'm going to ask for one more. So we have a full 3. Do we have anybody else that wants to practice with me on overcoming objections? I got Mark fooling with his phone. He may. Oh, Mr. Dan Cannon's here. All right, my friend. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. I'm sitting in my car. So
where are you, my friend?
I'm in the Nashville area.
Yes. Awesome.
I'm in Murfreesboro right now, actually. You're local, so you know.
Awesome. Well, my friend, that's where I got my started. I appreciate you jumping on here. So tell the audience here what exactly you do.
My name is Dan Cannon, and we sell commercial food service equipment. Our primary line is ice makers and refrigerated products. Okay. So I get to be a restaurant owner, and because I get to make this business, it's Robert's Steakhouse. It's the best steakhouse this side of Nashville, Tennessee, where you can get the best ribeye in town. All right. I am standing in the store here. I'm standing in my retail. I'm going to back you up, Robert. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm a distributor, so I don't really sell direct to restaurants. I sell to the people who sell to the restaurants.
Okay, so I am Robert's Restaurant and Supply Store. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay, all right. I'm in my showroom, and you've walked in, and let's do it.
Hey, Robert, I'm Dan Cannon with Cannon Marketing. I'm just here to talk with you about what you've been doing on your ice maker and refrigeration side. I have a line card here for you to take a look at because I do have a variation of products. What are you doing right now on your ice makers?
Well, we have been using this this brand out of China for many years, and our customers, I sell them, and I just don't hear much about it. They are kind of hard to get, but that's who we use.
Okay. Well, we're local here, and we're keeping a pretty good stock of Hoshizaki ice machines and refrigerated products. How many ice makers do you think you sell in a given year?
I probably do about 150 a year.
Oh, wow. That's a nice volume of ice makers there. Well, would it help you to have the support of somebody stocking locally and not having to bring things over from overseas? Because, Hoshizaki, even though the name sounds a little bit funny, it's manufactured in Peachtree City, Georgia, and Griffin, Georgia. They have upright refrigeration and under-counter refrigeration, as well as any variation of ice maker that you might want to use. It's considered one of the most reliable ice makers in the industry.
Ah, okay, interesting. Well, I have your information here. I'll give you a ring when we get some time.
Well, how about if I send you some information on email for you to take a look at, and we'll see if we can make an appointment for me to come back in and review that information a little bit further and see what we could do to get on your sales floor and put some ice makers out.
I like it. Dan, that was good. That was good. I'll tell you. I'll tell you what I liked about Dan in that exercise. He asked a lot of questions, and questions close deals. A question that is answered by your customer is an indication of interest. And that was well done, Dan. And I appreciate you jumping on here and doing that. I think that was a very good exercise in overcoming objections for all three of you. So thank you. I'm going to take a moment and ask Miss Ashley, can you put out a poll for those so we can get
on it.
You're on it. All right. She's going to put a poll. So we're going to vote who had the best overcoming objections, and we're going to get her to roll that out. And let me go back to my presentation. I want to show you something real quick that if you guys need anything, you guys have any questions in using our app or some feedback, you want to get your team re-engaged, you want to get ready for this coming new year, I wanted to tell you this next call that we're going to be doing next Monday is going to be the last one we're going to do for the year, because it is going to be crazy for the Heartlines family. Christmas, we're excited about a little trip we're planning, but we'll circle back in January. But what are we going to talk about next week? And that is goal setting. This is the time of year where you can make your bank balance new. You can alter your bank balance in the 23 by working on simple goal setting exercise, creating a vision for not only your family, but for your sales life and what that can look like. What happens when you put things on paper can become things in for real. So we got a little, we have our poll going out there. So take a moment, click on the poll. If you look at the app, just go into the Zoom app, you'll see a little poll on the screen. We got some things cooking here. We got a nice little race. I want to show you this one other thing before we leave for the day, and that is we have a referral program for CallProof, okay? You know someone that you know in business, you know on LinkedIn, you know someone that would benefit when their team is aligned with the right process and how you sell, to knowing where your customers are by having them on a map, by having them in CallProof, by using CallProof to generate your routes, by using CallProof to do your follow-ups. As a reminder, top sales organizations, on average, talk to and contact a cold prospect 12 times before it becomes a sale. Average companies do it twice. So the secret is, it's the follow-up. Identify where your customers are, identify them on a map, do the routing, go see lots of people, do the follow-up. 12 follow-ups. That's what CallProof does for our customers. You can earn money for just getting me a demo. I give a $100 gift card when you give me a qualified demo of someone has 3 or more salespeople. I get on a call with them if they're in B2B sales, not B2C, meaning they're not selling to individuals. You're just going door to door in businesses. They want to use our app to see more people and identify the activity for their sales team, what's being successful. I pay you $100 for that demo. And last but not least, if they end up buying our tool, you're going to get $50 times the number of users they close when they close their sale. So let me go back here. Oh, there we go. I'm back. All right. What'd we get, Miss Ashley? Who won the contest?
It looks like Mr. Dan took the lead with 8 votes.
Awesome, Mr. Dan Cannon. Good work. You got you a nice little gift card. You can go out and take your honey out. Thank you for participating. Thank you for joining the call, everyone. I will see everyone next week at 10 Central. Thanks, guys.